So, Bob Dylan, a biographical overview, Part 2. 1965, Bob Dylan's fifth album, Bring It All Back Home, started his first use of electronic instrumentation in his recording. Later that year, he got a lot of criticism from his folk fans in Fairport Folk Festival. 1972, Bob Dylan suffered a serious motorbike accident. It sidelined him from play music, and after that accident, many albums he made didn't receive a good comment. But after that, he released the song "Knocking on Heaven's Door." It became one of Dylan's most famous songs. 1979, Bob Dylan became a born-again Christian and started to make some gospel music. 2001, Dylan wins Oscar, and 2016 win Nobel Prize for having created new poetic expression within the great American song tradition. So one of his most famous song, "Blowing in the Wind", there's 9 questions in the song. Each questions are connected to each other. Three questions combined into one stanza. In the first stanza, the songwriter Bob Dylan wants to talk about the relationship between the human and the civilization. How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? The man here is a symbol to the human being. How many roads must a man walk down before he call him a man? It's like asking a question about, through the history, how can man be more civilized, but not like just fighting with each other? It's like ultimate questions about how a human be a human. How many seas must a white dove sail before she sleep in the sand? Like in many ancient Western story, like Bible story, seas like Noah's Ark like pointed to the punishment to those humans who fight with each other. And the white dove is a symbol of peace. So this sentence is probably asking when we can get to that place in the sand, the place without war that will be full of peace and love. How many times must a cannibal fly before they are forever banned? It's a quite interesting comparison with the white dove. They're all flying stuff. Like cannibal, they're flying. White dove flying. Comparisons, like there's an interesting comparison in it. Like peace compared with the war. The dove that never drop, and the cannibal that forever banned. So they gave us a movie like image, like shocked people's eyes. Actually, they use the sound lyrics to cause an image which has both dove and the cannibal fly over the sky. So how can we solve the questions? How can human, be more civilized? The answer Bob Dylan didn't give us. They are still blowing the wind. In the second stanza, how many years must a mountain exist before it is washed into the sea? How many years can some people exist before they are allowed to be free? How many times can a man turn his head and pretend that he just doesn't see? So the mountain is like people's prejudice. The question is about how we can face the prejudice with each other, and with those prejudice, the prejudice to Muslim, to the Gaza peoples, or like to Israel peoples, they cause the war. They cause those people who can be free. Look at the Jewish at the World War II. So when those mountains exist, those people can't be free, and those bystanders, they're just watching. So what's how we solve those problems? Bob Dylan still doesn't have any answers, but the answer is still blowing the wind. In the third stanzas, how many times must a man look up before he can see the sky? And how many years must one man have before he can hear people cry? Yes, and how many days will it take till he knows that too many people have died? In these stanzas, Bob Dylan directly point to that man who got the powers that caused many deaths. They want to ask him, how can you can't see those skies? How can you can't hear those deaths? What's the answer of the man who with powers? Those men in history who got the power. The answer they have is still blowing the wind. So the three questions, using different angles, answer the more universal problems. How can human lives live in peace? The answer is still blowing the wind. Blowing the wind like powders. You can't catch them. They just blow to the history, and you can never find them. It's like feelings of confused, but we still have one answer, which is blowing the wind.